Hi, and welcome along to AFTV News Daily, the early edition. Good morning, good afternoon to you, good evening even, wherever you are around the world tuning into the #1 daily show. And thanks for all the support that you've been giving to this show, especially during this whole coronavirus lockdown period, which we're still under here in the UK. Interesting yesterday that the government here in the UK now moving to get some businesses opened in early June. A lot of non-essential shops, and that the Prime Minister confirming yesterday that they will be opening come early June. So they are starting to try to slowly open things back up. And of course, that does include football, which we anticipate will be coming back. The Premier League I'm talking about. Round about mid-June or towards the end of June, we should get Premier League football back. Now, that's great that Premier League football is coming back, but for the women's game, it's not such good news. News yesterday confirming that the Women's Super League has been cancelled. And you know what? That was one of the last games I went to see was a women's game. Arsenal taking on Chelsea in the final of the Conti Cup, and it was a very good game indeed, actually. Chelsea sneaking it in the end, but it was a very good game. But feel sorry for the women. Their league has been cancelled, and they haven't even yet decided how they're going to work out who wins the league. I mean, as the league was cancelled, Manchester City were top on 40 points, Chelsea only a point behind on 39, and Arsenal were on 36 points. So as you can see, it was very, very tight up there at the top. So how are they going to work out who gets what in that? You know, there's been talk about, you know, this system where it's points per game or some sort of, you know, that system they're talking about. And actually, if they go off of that system, Chelsea are in second place on 39 points, would win the league. This is what I'm talking about when I say the leagues have to be finished. You know, it's very unsatisfactory when it's done in this way. Or if you do cancel a league, you just got to cancel it. Awarding these things for me just doesn't work. It doesn't work whatsoever. You know, you hear people talking about, you know, it's bringing the integrity of the game into, you know, disrepute. I think that definitely does when you just hand things out. And one of the reasons why I'm sort of happy that the Premier League returns back, if it's safe to do so. The Championship teams also back in training yesterday, so they're looking to get those games done. Of course, there's a lot of unresolved issues in the Championships. Leeds, of course, and West Brom, two teams that look destined for promotion. They'll be more than happy that, you know, both the Premier League and the Championship are going to get restarted, because, you know, it means a lot to those teams if they can get promoted up into the Premier League. So those leagues looking to come back as well. And as I said, they're getting back into training as well. They've done a lot of testing in the Championship. I think it was, I was reading here, over 1,014 players were tested, players and staff, and 2 positive tests returned. So again, never great to have any positive tests, but in the grand scheme of things, that is pretty low. So, you know, sort of giving the green light for the Championship to return so that they can get that league resolved as well and decide who is going to be promoted up into the Premier League and who gets relegated down from the Premier League. And for me, much more satisfactory than just cancelling these leagues. So we're going to have to obviously be very cautious in how we progress with this, because the last thing you want is a spike in cases again, loads of cases going up, lots of players and support staff to these clubs, you know, coming down with the COVID-19. So going to have to deal with it as it comes along, but things are slowly starting to get back to some semblance of normality over here in the UK, and the first steps to football coming back and the lockdown being taken away. Ainsley Maitland-Niles, what is going to happen with him now? There's been lots of speculation over his future. He hasn't been figuring at all under Mikel Arteta, and there's a lot of links today linking him with a move to AC Milan. Of course, that's where Gazidis is at present, and AC Milan are said to be interested in him. I've also seen reports that Everton are another club that would be interested in the services of Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Really, really interested on Ainsley because he's come up through the ranks. I think he'd be desperate to make it in the Arsenal team because he's been at Arsenal since he was a little kid. But be interesting to see what happens with him this summer. It does look like he's going to be on his way out. Doesn't look like Mikel Arteta is really favouring him, and I think he'll get a good move if he does move on. Everton, as I said, another one of those clubs said to be very interested in Ainsley Maitland-Niles at the moment. So gonna have to wait and see. Nothing will be done, of course, until we get to the summer. We keep forgetting we are at the summer, but we're not at the end of the season yet to be doing these deals. At the end of the summer, could Coutinho be coming? We spoke about it a lot yesterday, and it's still being spoken about a lot today. It's still big news today. The rumours linking Coutinho to Arsenal. A lot of that is centred around the fact that his agent, Kia Jarapchin, has a very good relationship with the movers and shakers at Arsenal. And, this is why this deal is being muted and touted a lot. Bayern Munich have already come out and said they will not be renewing. They're not going to be renewing the loan deal for him. As a matter of fact, he hasn't even figured since Bayern Munich have come back, remember. And they played 2 games now. They've got another game tonight against Borussia Dortmund. And it'd be interesting to see if he figures in that one. But come the end of his loan deal, he's going to be on his way back to Barcelona. Now, Barcelona, as we know, desperate to sell. I would like to find out from you guys. We're going to run a poll on it. Do you want him or not? Coutinho, would he be a good fit for Arsenal? Yes or no? We're going to do a poll in the community group. But Coutinho, yes or no? Jump into the YouTube community after this show and let us know what you think. Yes or no to Philip Coutinho. We'll give you the results on that one tomorrow. Another player that also been linked with today is Raul Jimenez of Wolves, a very, very good player. Now, obviously, the links to him are appearing because there's still the uncertainty over Aubameyang, and if Aubameyang goes, all the talk is that Arsenal will try and get another striker in. Now, according to an Italian outlet called Tuttosport, which not the most reliable source, but anyway, we're going to talk about it because they put it out there. They're saying that Arsenal, Manchester United, and Real Madrid, all 3 of those clubs, very interested in the signature of Raul Jimenez. Arsenal more based off of the fact that if Aubameyang goes, they'll need a replacement. Valuation for him around about £62 million. This is when I say when the Aubameyang thing wouldn't make sense to sell if you didn't get a king's ransom for him, because his valuation, and remember, he's nowhere near as prolific as Aubameyang, is 62 million. Yeah. He's 29 now, Jimenez. 29. And looking at his goal scoring records since the time he's been at Wolves is not really any better than Lacazette, say. Now, a valuation of 62 million. Very good player, don't get me wrong. I rate him. I rate him highly. He's, we played against him a few times and he's very effective up front. He's a sort of more of an old-fashioned striker, great at holding the ball up, very, very good in the air, and a decent finisher as well when one-on-one. And he has led the line brilliantly for Wolves. But 62 million? I mean, listen, those are probably prices not taking the coronavirus epidemic or pandemic, should I say, into account. But even so, I just look on it and I say, more and more, when I look at fees like that being bandied around, I say to myself, just keep hold of Aubameyang, you know, unless you get ridiculous money for him. And I just don't see where that ridiculous money is going to come from, because, all right, I know Aubameyang's been getting linked with PSG, but apparently PSG are really pushing hard to get the Icardi deal done, and I think that will get done. And what was it? Inter Milan are not going to pay 60 million for Aubameyang. We already know that teams like Real Madrid, Barcelona, they're not going to be splashing that sort of money. Newcastle, perhaps, maybe, but unless we get ridiculous money for Aubameyang, what is the point in selling him, even if he was just to walk away at the end of the deal? So we're gonna have to wait and see what happens. But Jimenez being linked with a move today, and we'd really like to get your thoughts on that. This guy says Aubameyang is worth at least 100 million. Well, he's not worth 100 million, and the reason why he's not worth 100 million is his age, and also the fact that he only has a year left on his contract. So when a player only has a year left on his contract, the valuation goes down, because, you know, a club come January, say, could talk to Aubameyang and sign him on a pre-contract for the end of next season for nothing, and then just, you know, pay him good wages. It works out well for players, actually, sometimes, if they run their contract down to the end, because as Aaron Ramsey did, you can negotiate yourself some whopping wages, because with a lot of clubs, because they haven't had to pay an upfront fee for you, they'll reward you with bigger wages. So, you know, Henry Barker says, hi, Robbie. We could swap Laka for Partey, loan Coutinho, and buy Upamecano for 30 mil. 30 mil? They want a lot more than that. Surely we could do that. P.S. Please give a shout out to Paul Barker, as it's his birthday today. Big up Paul Barker and happy birthday. Upamecano is going to be more than 30 million. And already, you know, you've seen his agent saying he's probably going to stay at RB Leipzig, because nobody's going to have the big money to pay for him this summer. That is what his agent was saying. Chidi says Coutinho is a very good player. Dr. Viral says, hi, Robbie. Arsenal being linked to any striker signals the end of Aubameyang's career at Arsenal. They're in a like-for-like replacement for him in the market. Hashtag sign Aubameyang up soon. Well, yeah, that's we all want to get him signed up desperately. Zadie James says, Robbie, why would he go to Arsenal if he's the leader in a better team? They're a better team than us at the moment, Wolves. But come on, Arsenal, miles bigger club than Wolves, miles bigger fan base, miles bigger profile, you know, and has the potential to come back again. So Jimenez would, if the money was right, would move to Arsenal. But I'm just, as I'm saying, 29, 60 million, 62 million valuation, no chance. I wouldn't pay that. Arsenal fan DB says, love this channel, Robbie. You keep me happy during the lockdown. Listen, appreciate that, you know, that love. Appreciate that, you know, we've been providing a nice service for people during this lockdown period. It has been really, really tough. And we've been trying to just keep people as updated as we can with what's going on. And don't forget, tonight, actually, we're going to have a lot of you guys on the show. So tonight's show, News Daily, going to be featuring some of the guys that got in contact and said they love to come on the show. So looking forward to that tonight. Low says, hey, Robbie, I think that Jimenez is not as consistent as Aubameyang. At the starting of the season, he was struggling to score goals, only started to score goals towards the middle of the season. Jimenez is a good player, but he is not nowhere near in the same category as an Aubameyang. Adrian says, Jimenez is decent, you know, don't underestimate him. I'm not underestimating him. I've seen him play a few times against Arsenal. He's a very good player. I'm not underestimating him. What I'm saying is, as you just said, he's decent. Aubameyang's better than decent. He is, I think, a world-class player. So if he did go, I want a world-class player coming back the other way. So, and look at I'm just trying to draw the comparison of, look how expensive Jimenez would be. then it would. What sense would it make to Aubameyang to go? Dagmawi says, would you rather sell Aubameyang for around about 40 million or allow him to run down his contract? It depends. If it was to a club abroad, you've got to take the money, I suppose. You've got to take the 40 million. If it's to any club in this country, I'd rather him run down his contract. Richard Gill says, whatever happens with Aubameyang, we should be thinking about another striker. We have to start looking to the future and get someone to settle in whilst we've got the future at the club already, which is Martinelli. So, you know, that's why it makes sense for me to keep Aubameyang. You keep Aubameyang in there and, you know, give him a couple of years extension on his contract. He's still going to bang in the goals. I've said it a million times on this show that there's strikers banging in the goals left, right and centre right across Europe who are in their 30s. One is doing it. You saw him at the weekend, you know, playing, and that's Lewandowski, top goal scorer yet again in Germany, year in, year out. And he's the same age, if not a year older, I think, than Aubameyang, right? You know, and you just got to go, you know, Ronaldo's 34. You know, I know he's a superhuman player, but he's 34. So if you can keep yourself fit, keep your pace about you, keep that mentality right, you can still continue bagging in the goals whilst you're in your 30s. Give him a couple of years extension, and then it's Martinelli who takes over, gets a chance to grow into the position and take over from him. That would be how I'd be looking on it. Josh says, Aubameyang is staying with us, fam. Josh, I hope you're right, bro. I hope you're right. Bunja says, Coutinho, 100% yes. That's in, would you take him? 100% yes, says Bunja. We're going to do a poll on that in the YouTube community group. Vedant says, Chelsea women have played a game less and are unbeaten, Robbie. Talking about the Women's Super League where, as I said, Man City have got 40 points, Chelsea on 39, Arsenal on 36. And if they did this sort of outcome thing that they do, they're saying that they give it to Chelsea, even though they're a point behind. Vedant saying that Chelsea women have played a game less. Fair enough. Still don't like it. They're in second place. They could lose that game they've played less. We've played a game less than a lot of teams in the Premier League, but we're still ninth at the moment, right? We could lose that game in that. And I don't like this handing out stuff. If it can't be settled, it can't be settled. How can you turn around to a team that are top of the league and say, well, based off of the fact that they had a game in hand, they were unbeaten, we reckon they would probably have won that, so we're going to award it to them. No, come on, man. This is not FIFA, and you can't even do that in FIFA. You know what I mean? Let alone. Jam says, we need to hold on to Aubameyang. If we sell him, it would just show that we're a small club. We need to act like a big club, Robbie. And of course, I've been harping on about that it sends all the wrong signals if we were to sell him. Winfrey Twum says, Robbie, what do you think of the new transfer policy at Arsenal? I think it's work in progress, actually. I would have liked to have seen what they would have done without the coronavirus this summer. What would they have done? Would they have spent some decent amount of money? Obviously, now it's going to be very restricted. I do think these guys are looking in the right direction in some of the signings. I do see them signing young players. So I think they're trying to get something going. They're trying to get it's. The problem is they've been very hamstrung by what happened in the past, which is basically very average players receiving bumper contracts that now we can't get them out of these bumper contracts. We can't move these players on and they have very little value. So, and then you add to that the fact that there's no Champions League football. So a real drop in income means that it's very tight in spending if we're running this model of self-sufficiency. Rohan says we should get Lenglet, a consistent centre back. Barca favor moving Umtiti or swap Aubameyang with Varane. You make it sound so easy, bro. Varane would be a good player. but we got to keep Aubameyang. We should be keeping Aubameyang and getting somebody like a Varane in an ideal world. Yiko says, hi, Robbie. What do you think about Wenger saying he won't come back to the Emirates? I saw that. I was a bit surprised by that. You know, obviously, I can see why he wouldn't be in a hurry to come to the Emirates. I mean, he was there for 20 odd years, and it's a new chapter now for Arsene Wenger. He's working at UEFA. You know, he's got a whole, you know, he's at the same place for so long. I'm sure he wants to see other things and do other things. But saying he wouldn't come back, I was a bit surprised at that. I was just wondering if it was taken out of context a bit, because I would have thought there will be a day when he want to come back. Surely when they do the statue for him, he's going to want to come back for the unveiling of that. So I think he was more talking about he doesn't want to come back in any capacity, like, say, manager and again, or working upstairs or working behind the scenes at Arsenal. That he's moved on from that now, and I think he's done the right thing in saying that, because you know you don't want to keep going back. You know, he's moved on now. So I think that was what he was trying to say. Maybe it was slightly taken out, or he didn't really deliver it in the right way. Nathan Roy said, we're such a big club, Robbie, but we haven't been relevant for the past 15 years. When will we wake up? Nathan, stop moaning, man. Yes, we are still a big club. Take a trip with me sometimes when we go to something right round the world. Arsenal is still a big club, still one of the, how you can tell a club's a big club, is still a club that is such a talked about club and is a centre of discussion. When you play for Arsenal, the spotlight is on you. It's a big club that has been that has been underachieving for a very, very long time now. We know that, you know, FA Cups we've won, and that shows that we're a big club, because if it was a small club, we would have said, oh, we won 3 FA Cups. People would be looking, well, that's a decent return. But for a big club like Arsenal, it's a poor return. But Arsenal are a big club. They're just a big club that at the moment is going through a tough time. And this happens in football, actually. Football is a thing, really, of cycles, where you will have a cycle where you're in decline. Liverpool, who were just about to win the league, they haven't won it for 30 years. You say relevant for 15, they haven't won it for 30 years, right? Man United are a big club. They haven't won the league since Fergie left, you know, and they've been nowhere near it. So we're still a big club. We're just a big club that are underperforming and underachieving at the moment. Thea Thing says, bring Tyrese John Jules to the first team, and no need to buy a new striker. Either cash in on Aubameyang or keep him. Let the young ones grow. Sell Mickey, Mustafi, Socrates, Holding, El Neni as soon as possible. Tyrese John Jules was, of course, out on loan. He got injured on that loan move. I think he was on loan to Lincoln City. I think he's still growing. Again, he's not got what it takes yet, and hopefully he can do one day. But at this moment in time, he doesn't have what it takes to take over from Aubameyang. I'm sure if you spoke to him personally, he'd love the opportunity, but he will know that he's not at that level yet. And that's why they sent him out on loan, to let him grow. So, you know, Dean says, be honest, Robbie, can you see us winning the league in the next 10 years, let alone 5 years? Why not? It's about organisation. It's about getting our act together. It's about moving out deadwood players and getting in quality players. It's about holding on to our best players. The thing that makes me nervous is the owners. You know, that makes me nervous, because I want to see them just become really hungry and ambitious now. They own 100% of the club. I want to see some serious ambition, but we've got the right manager in place, and there's that resolve in the team to desperately win the league in the next 10 years. Why not? You know, this man says Coutinho on loan, Partey for 45 million. Any top defender for 30 to 40 million would be a good transfer window for us. I think we're going to get about 80 to 85 million, or if we manage to sell some players, thoughts, Robbie, we're not going to get 80 to 85 million available to spend. we're not going to be able to buy all those players you're talking about. I'd say there'll be loan deals, maybe a Coutinho on loan, possibly, or somebody on loan, not necessarily Coutinho. Partey's a possibility, but I can only see that happening if we sell. Zwei says, Aubameyang staying, Robbie. I trust Claude and Judge's source. It was Claude's source, actually. Lee Judges are saying he heard the same thing. But it's Claude's source. It's all on Claude. Let's get a couple more. TK here watching on Twitch says Coutinho will be good at Arsenal. And like I said about Aubameyang the last time, I'm fed up with the suspense Aubameyang is putting up. Don't sell Laka, PS. Justiniano says, hi, Robbie, let's make a statue of Wenger trying to put his hand in his pocket. Well, it wasn't his money. It's Tammy says, Nketiah is ready for me. I think Nketiah will have a big role to play, you know, in the coming seasons, because, again, we're going to be relying a lot on young players. We really are going to be relying a lot on young players. This guy says, hi, hello, Robbie. We are still producing young talents like Ajax and Dortmund do. Just the problem is that they produce and sell them for around 80 to 90 million, and we sell them for free. True. Camille says, Xhaka, Ainsley, Matteo, Laka misbehaved recently, but we won't sign Icardi and Rabiot due to their character. Opinion. Also, Xhaka lately said his row was a misunderstanding and he's moved on, not apologized. What's your opinion? Well, I've said before that, you know, I've not been, you know, I've moved on from the whole Xhaka thing, but I'm not satisfied that he didn't apologize. And I still feel that things like that can come back to haunt you if, like, say, he goes through a poor period. People will remember the fact that he didn't apologize. He should have just came out and said to the fans, I'm sorry. It weren't a misunderstanding. Some fans were out of order on that day as well. But what he did was wrong. End of. And you just take responsibility of it. You don't call it a misunderstanding. And you just say, you know what, I'm sorry. Shouldn't have done that. Lost it. Yeah, there were circumstances, but I shouldn't have done it. And he's not said that. So I think he should have done that. And yeah, you got a point when you talk about the misbehaving. I mean, the Xhaka thing, he misbehaved big time with what he did. Ainsley, Guendouzi, Laka, those are minor things, really. Even the balloon thing with Lacazette, I mean, we don't know if we've done, but it is a minor thing. It's not a good thing to do. Guendouzi and Ainsley falling out, having arguments with managers, it happens all the time, literally every training session. It's just that their ones have been made public. So, whereas the Rabiot thing, he is the falling out has been very bad. Two clubs where, like, you know, he forced the move out of PSG by refusing to play and things like that. That's a different level. And Icardi, you know, well documented how he's, you know, falling out with the fans, falling out with the club. You know, I think those two, they're troublemakers on another level in comparison. So G-Man says Nketiah, Martinelli and Aubameyang is enough. Saka and Pepe on the wings too. We're quite good up front. We've got, you know, I think it's the midfield and the defence that really needs to be sorted out. Simon says buy Morata. No thanks. This guy says, tell about the Coutinho transfer. Well, I did. If you ain't been watching the show from the start, because we've already spoke about Coutinho and the possible loan deal. And let's get one more. Try and find one that's done. Archie Young says, Raul Jimenez has no pace and wouldn't fit into our team. He is not the quickest. He's that sort of target man striker. But he is good, but he's not Aubameyang, in my opinion. Thanks for watching the show today. Don't forget we're going to be back this evening. As I said, we've got guests on the show from you guys. You know, remember we put the message out there and we said, you know, I want to get some of you guys on. Well, we're going to do the first batch of that. I'm going to do more as well because there's so many of you I've asked to get on, but there'll be some of you guys on tonight. So make sure you check the show out later on and have yourself a great day.